So how do we reconcile? There's a lot of doctors that recommend high dose iodine, 10
There are.
milligrams, really high dose, 20 milligrams. And
Yeah.
a lot of times those people wind up with Hashimoto's or hypothyroid. How do we reconcile when somebody needs iodine, when they don't need iodine, and the difference between iodine and iodide?
Sure. The last one's real easy. I'll jump on that one first. So iodine and iodide, basically iodide is an oxide and iodine is the volatile form that's more chemically active. Iodine is not stable on the Earth's surface for very long. So we do make it inside our thyroid, but pretty much all versions either start out as iodide or they become iodide once they contact the skin of the gastrointestinal tract. We oxidize that via thyroid peroxidase and make it into iodine within select compartments of the body like the thyroid. So yeah, so basically all roads lead to iodide within the body and we convert that. The one exception is when the amounts, there's appropriate amounts, deficiency, excess, and then toxicology. So toxicology is where there's so much iodide that it spontaneously converts to iodine even when the body's not trying to do that. And that's when iodine becomes fatal. And that's why it was a big part of, it was the most common cause of suicide in the early part of the century, last century. So that's a simple one. In terms of why is there a big discordancy in medicine, boy, we'd have to sit down and have some beverages and talk through that one for a little while. But there was basically one group, one author who wrote about this in the early 2000s, and he inspired a few others. And his ideas, they seemed really plausible and they were very intuitive. They were very logical. But so many things about thyroid and iodine are neither intuitive nor logical, and they don't really suffer our common apprehensions. So we often think that if a nutrient does something, then more of a nutrient must do more of that thing. But when we look at how the body works with our nutrients, our hormones, our biochemistry, there's many examples that are not true. And we see a lot of C-shaped curves or J-shaped curves in the relationship between a disease and a nutrient. And there's no more striking examples in the case of iodine. So yeah, deficiencies cause disease, but excesses cause disease. And the gap between those can be as little as 150 micrograms. So this one group had some ideas that again seemed plausible, and they took on some steam, they ran some momentum, but they just didn't fly with what we've learned in the last century about iodine. And the story's gotten stronger and further away from that approach.
So we're finding that actually it's an iodine excess that's causing the problems. Where are we getting all this iodine? Are we getting it from the air? Are we getting it from the sea? Are we getting it from the salt? Are we getting it from our food? Where are we getting it all?
You know, all of the above. Some are more relevant than others. Curious thing is we do get some from the air. That's probably more relevant if we're right by coastal areas, but it's probably not a big contributor in most cases. So we do get iodine in iodized salt. Funny thing is that a lot of popular salts today have more iodine than iodized salt does, such as pink Himalayan salt. It probably has twice as much based upon assays. We do get it in our foods, but the forms that are most relevant are where it shows up as a contaminant. So it's a contaminant in dairy foods. Cows are often given teat sanitizers that are iodine based. In fact, in this coming year, there's massive amounts of work trying to find non-iodized products that are effective sanitizers, that are safe, that are not an irritant to the udder. So that's a focus of a lot of research, but much comes in from contamination. And then with the other big source is breads and baked products. And I think that's why many have felt they've improved their thyroid function by going gluten-free. They've cut out a lot of unnecessary iodine. So some companies use iodine as a dough conditioner. This is bizarre. Some big assays have shown that you could go down to your supermarket, buy some bread, different brands, healthy brands, commercial brands. You might find seven, eight times a day's safe intake in one slice of bread. And if you look at the label and if you look for iodized dough conditioner, that's not a valid predictor of how much iodine will be in the bread. So it's some version of a contaminant. Yeah.